Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
Desperate stories.
The UN's humanitarian chief has said people in Gaza are being subjected to forced starvation by Israel. In an interview, Tom Fletcher said he believed this had led to a change in the international response to Gaza. There is a state of chaos, a breakdown of security and looting in North Gaza's main city, where Palestinians are desperately searching for food and where aid is difficult to access. Local medics and rescuers said at least 44 people were killed across the territory on Thursday, including 23 at the central Bereji refugee camp.
Mr. President, there is cruelty in the bombardments, cruelty in the wanton destruction, cruelty in the blockade, and even cruelty in the distribution of very limited aid. The doomed fate of our people. A full blockade against an entire civilian population, including 1 million children, depriving them of food, water, medicine, shelter, or a system of aid that is degrading, discriminatory, limited to food and limited in quantity, and which aims at the forcible displacement of the population and at facilitating the unlawful seizing of land.
Meanwhile, Israeli ministers say 22 new Jewish settlements have been approved in the occupied West Bank, the biggest expansion in decades. Several already exist as outposts built without government authorization, but will now be made legal under Israeli law. Others are completely new, according to the defense minister, which are widely seen as illegal under international law, though Israel disputes this, are one of the most contentious issues between Israel and the Palestinians. The US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said trade talks between the US and China are a bit stalled. His comments come less than 3 weeks after a temporary trade truce was agreed between the world's two largest economies, with both agreeing to reduce tit-for-tat tariffs. Donald Trump's global tariff regime was dealt a blow on Wednesday following a ruling that he had exceeded his authority. His plans have been temporarily reinstalled after the White House appealed the decision. Both the US and China confirmed they would reduce tariffs imposed on each other's imports earlier this month, following talks in Switzerland.
I would say that they are a bit stalled. I believe that we will be having more talks with them in the next few weeks, and I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and party chair Xi.
A suspect wanted for the murder of a South African university student has been killed in a shootout with police. The man had been linked to the death of Olerato Mongale, whose body was found in Johannesburg on Sunday, about 2 hours after she was reported missing, having gone on a date. Miss Mongale's death has sparked a fierce debate about the levels of violence faced by women in South Africa. The trial of Diego Maradona's medical staff has collapsed in Argentina after it was found that a judge involved in the case had taken part in a documentary about it. The judge in charge of the proceedings said the trial would have to start again. 7 members of Maradona's medical team were charged with negligent homicide relating to the former footballer's death in 2020. They deny the allegations. Maradona, a former Napoli and Argentina midfielder, had been recovering at his home in Buenos Aires from brain surgery for a blood clot in November 2020, when he died of a heart attack aged 60. If convicted, they could face between 8 and 25 years in prison. And a Chinese paraglider has survived being accidentally propelled 8,500 meters into the sky above northwest China. Peng Yujiang, aged 55, was testing new equipment at 3,000 meters above sea level over the Qilan Mountains when a rare updraft, or air current known as cloud suck, pulled him about 5,000 meters higher into a cloud formation. Saturday's events were filmed on a camera that was mounted on Mr. Peng's glider, and the footage has gone viral after being posted on China's version of TikTok. It showed Mr. Peng holding onto the glider's controls with his face and much of his body covered in ice crystals. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.